allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. And now at this time, we'll move on to the clerk to call roll, please.
Commissioner Webster? Here. Commissioner Holzhausen?
Here.
Commissioner McMaster?
Here.
Commissioner Garber? Here. Commissioner Paulman?
Here.
Commissioner Root?
Here.
Chairman Marks?
Here. All right, good show. All commissioners are present. Now we'll go ahead and we'll move on to the approval of the agenda. Do we have any motion to approve today's agenda?
I will move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Movement by Commissioner Root, seconded by Commissioner Plowman. Thank you. Any discussion, additions, questions?
I
I
have
do
a
have,
question.
okay,
Is it possible, oh, go ahead.
No, you start with
Is it possible to move, to take the items under Health and Human Services B through F and just combine them in one? As like a consent agenda?
I think we can do that today for tomorrow, but I don't know if we can do that now.
Okay.
I don't know,
Okay.
I don't think we can because they all require.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Good question.
Okay.
yeah, and I would just like to add, you'll notice that the abolishment of the surveyor's been removed. I talked to the chair of the finance committee and I talked with the surveyor as well on removing it. We had a good conversation today. We talked about a lot of things. We both kind of talked about the incident we had in our office during the budget time. It was unfortunate, but probably both of us continuing to escalate it further on each side by continuing to act foolish probably isn't the best strategy. Though he did agree that the position will probably be looked at to be abolished. He was in favor and support. He said he is the only licensed surveyor that lives in Shiawassee County, therefore he's the only one eligible to hold the position. After the 4 years, his intention is not to run again. So he said, but he would like to be in the discussion of abolishing the position if we do that. And I said, if we look at it, we certainly will have him in on the conversations, but he does understand the movement to abolish, and I just wanted to make sure that if anything does get printed, that there's no more bad blood between him, between the board, between anyone here. We each got off on the wrong foot in a budget meeting, and those things happen, and he told me today how he felt, and I said, had you said exactly what you said to me today on the phone, we would not have had a disagreement, you know. It was very confrontational the way we approached the subject in the meeting, and we were very cordial on the phone, and I told him, you know, the extended meeting that we had with him was to offer him that olive branch of respect. His budget does not change. There is nothing we simply could have done in his budget. It's all grant funded. So what we did was, Dr. Boggs had never met him. I've never met him. Finance director, I think, has met him a few times, but what we wanted to do was make sure we extended him that courtesy to show that we do understand he's an elected official. We do respect that he's a member of the county, and we wanted to give him kind of an opportunity to meet with all of us, get to know all of us, and we could have a conversation. So he said he didn't understand that was what the meeting was for, and he really appreciated that. So I did put a copy to everybody with his phone number if anyone wants to reach out to him to confirm. But it was a good conversation. Though I still believe the position should be abolished, and I'm still in support of abolishing it, today we don't need to take it up, and I will continue to work with the surveyor on when's the right time to abolish. That's all I have.
Anyone else, comments, questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the approval of the agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. The agenda is approved. So now we'll move on to our special presentations, specifically, any?
No, I wasn't in that moment.
Yeah. Today, in the county, a Shiawassee County employee suddenly passed away. So I would like to ask that we take a moment of silence. Thank you. now we'll go ahead and we'll move into our public comment section. If there are any individuals from the public that would like to address the board at this time, you are allowed to do so. Seeing none, we will then immediately go into our committee motions and reports, and we'll move first to Finance and Administration Committee. Commissioner Plowman, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to authorize the relocation of county funds to TCF Bank and direct the county board chairman, county treasurer, and county clerk to execute all necessary documents to complete the transfer and set up new accounts.
The motion and support for item A. Questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I move to approve the risk management policy as presented and approve the credit card policy as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion and second for item B. Items open. Questions, discussions on item B? Hearing none, all in favor of moving it forward to tomorrow signify by saying aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I move to approve the resolution to close the MERS defined benefit plan as presented.
Second.
Motion and second, item C. Questions, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of item C signify by saying aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I move to increase revenue in account 101-172-569.000 state grants other by $29,300 and increase expenses in account 101-172-801.000 contractual services by $29,300.
Second.
B's been moved, seconded. Open on the floor. Hearing no discussion, all in favor of moving item D forward to tomorrow signify by saying aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I move to approve Fund 516 budget as presented for 2020.
Second.
B's been moved and seconded. Questions, discussion on item B? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That concludes the Finance and Administrative Committee.
So then we'll go right into Economic and Physical Development Committee. Chairman Plowman, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to approve Public Act 116 Farmland Agreement application for Mr. David Sutton.
Item A has been moved and supported. Open for discussion or any commissioner questions? Hearing none. All in favor of item A signify by saying aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I move to approve the discharge of the rehabilitation mortgage on 499 East King Street, Corona, and direct the county board chairman and county clerk to execute said discharge documents.
Second.
Motion and second on item B. Questions, discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I move to approve the amendment to the Shiawassee County zoning ordinance as presented for parcel 014-004-400-001-06.
Motion and a support for item C. Questions, discussion? Commissioner McMaster.
I apologize, I wasn't here on Monday when this committee met. I sat on the planning commission. We passed this. There was a 4-3 vote or a 5-2 vote. So I don't know if there's any questions of discussion of what was said at the planning commission, or I don't know if Pete was here, if he covered it or not, but there are 3 things that I would like to bring up about this parcel, kind of why the majority of the planning commission is for the changing of the zoning. The first one is within a half mile to the south, there is, I don't know if it's B3 or commercial zone property, whatever it's considered, there is, it's zoned for items like this to the south. And like I said, it's this parcel just to a half mile, a mile. Number 2, this is a farm. It's a father and I believe 1 or 2 sons that is continuing to farm, although they are selling off, they have sold off some parcels. They want to develop this. This is to kind of create some off-farm revenue so they can keep farming. And for those who are
who are against growth, and whether it's houses or whether it's businesses, whatever, this is an opportunity for them to take a small portion of their property, not their whole farm, not sell off the whole farm, not develop the whole farm, a small portion, to put these storage units in, which are gonna have very little traffic, very little disruption, to the neighborhood. And the third item, and whether this should be said or not, we are months away from redoing them, or completing the master plan rewrite and the rezoning. And it is more than likely this corridor, especially this far south on M52, close to I-69, is gonna be rezoned, reclassified for businesses like this. So I brought this up to the planning commission. It seems a little strange for us to say no. We'll come back in September when we have our zoning map change, and we have zoned this for appropriate businesses. So those were kind of the three reasons. The most, when we talk about legal standing and grounding, would be that it's within a mile of other zoned commercial properties. It isn't like this is spot zoning where we're taking a parcel that has nothing 5 miles in any direction, and we're saying, okay, put a business here. It is within literally eyesight, spitting sight of commercial zone property. So those are kind of the three reasons.
How big is the site? I guess I did.
20 acres, 30 acres in that field?
5 acres, I think it's like 22 acres there, but they want to zone, just 5 acres.
Right.
Oh, 5 acres, okay.
So it's if you look at the map, it's the southwest corner of Winnegar and 52. The next, which is interesting, there were a lot of people that are talking about traffic and accidents, and traffic does move kind of fast through there. But the accidents I see are always at Church and 52 and Miller and 52. If you go north, you hit Miller Road, which is the road you turn out to actually get to the Slocum Farm. There's a nasty hill. There's always accidents right there. I've never seen any problem with Winnegar and 52. That corner is the only intersection, several miles either way, that all four corners have a clear view of traffic coming. And there's a lot of discussion about there wouldn't be an entrance on 52. There's going to be an entrance off of a service drive, like off of Winnegar Road. So you have traffic stopping at a stop sign at Winnegar and 52, and not just pulling out directly onto 52.
Commissioner, what's the, it's kind of late, but what's the timeline for what's the holdup, I guess, on our
COVID has slowed down a little bit of the master plan, and there were some issues with the GIS. Those are being corrected. We have a draft we're working on. We'll be meeting, I believe, next week or the week after, for some of the master plan to start approving some of that. So the goal still is the end of the year.
And that's, so, from my understanding, so then these highways like this are gonna have,
Yeah, so-
are gonna have the overlays. So the zoning overlays, or are they going away from overlays? or how
No,
are they-
there's discussion of these overlays. There's discussion of not just a solid blanket overlay to say from the north end to the south end of Benton County on 52, 21, 13, 71, M78 Lansing Highway. So it may not be a 20 mile, 22 or a 24-mile stretch, or 22-mile stretch on M21, or a 24-mile stretch on M52, but it may be sections. It may be a 4-mile stretch, and then there might be a break, and then based on if there's already some development there, what's going on. The problem you run into, and I know we talked about this a little bit, when you go north of Wausau, there isn't going all the way up to Oakley, there isn't a lot of businesses, there isn't a lot of spot zoning or variances, and et cetera, that's been done. You go south, it's different, especially, what's it?
Highways.
The highways there, you have the I-69, and you have, you already have some intersections on South M52 that are zoned. And so the question becomes, okay, from this intersection to this intersection, that's a country block a mile away, we just make that whole area. What's the current housing like? Is it all empty land? Is there housing mixed in? But there is going to be an attempt, an effort to like I said, not blanket on all the state trunk lines, but we are open for business. Growth's coming, and maybe it makes a lot more sense to have stuff on Lansing Highway on 52 than on a different secondary road. But yes, there are, I'd be careful to say blanket, and it isn't gonna be from county line to county line, but there's gonna be some corridors. And hopefully that'll alleviate some of the zoning issues we've had with the planning commission, the ZBA, some of the court cases, lawsuits, et cetera, et cetera.
So looking at this paper, how far is that corner from I-69?
1 mile.
2 miles.
1 mile or 2 miles? 1 mile.
One.
Yes.
I have a couple of things. One thing that was addressed, normally in zoning, commercial endeavors like this are under B2. But for some reason, mini storages can only fall in B3. But mini storage only falling in B3. B3 is for adult entertainment. Well, the Slocums have agreed to put restriction on this rezoning if it passes. No adult entertainment, no social, there's 4 things that I couldn't remember. No social entertainments, activity, there's a couple more, but the main thing was the adult activity, like, what we have at the corner of the Perry. And so also, keep in mind, and this was never brought up anywhere, the Slocums, the dad and the sons, they own this property. And there was a lot of discussion, why don't you take this type of a business and take it down to the Perry intersection, or where it is zoned land for commercial, and purchase land and build a storage. Well, the property at the I-69 interchange, even going towards Morris, pretty difficult to pay less than $50,000 an acre. They want 5 acres. They would have to spend $200,000 to $250,000 just for property. And then if they tried to build mini storage, their payout is not profitable, period. That has really put a damper on, like, I'll kind of piggyback what Dan said, it really puts a damper on a small businessman or a family trying to get in business if they have to go to a certain area and certain people own all that property, so the price of that property is a fortune. And actually, most likely, mini storage is not a good place for their intersection, even going east and west or whatever, probably not a real good idea. But the cost of doing business, they own the property, they'll be in a adjacent business for farming, or farmland, so on and so forth. So I want to touch those 2 subjects, because there's a lot of pros and cons here, one way or the other. So I just, again, I went to the township meeting where they voted not to rezone, and they came to the county, it was a 4-2. Yeah, you had one after.
Should have one after, that's right,
You
4-2.
had 4-2, and so now it's before us. Now, whatever action we take today will carry over until tomorrow. And that, if tomorrow, then we'll vote again, and it will be official or it will pass. So forth. But there's a lot of discussion about this because we've had a lot of this in the last several years. And it's been one way or the other. Okay, thank you, Mr.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to add, I truly believe the Slocum family, their goal, their intent is to continue farming. And part of this is, when we look at the land they selected, they kept, not for me to say what's the most fertile ground and what produces the best for them, but they kept their best farmland to be farmland. They're taking some marginal, what looks like sandy, hilly land, that would probably sell for a lot more, sell for a lot of houses on it. But they're gonna use that land, or that's marginal land, to make some off-farm revenue, so they can keep farming. We're all about the open space and green space and farmland preservation, and it just makes sense. Us allowing them to take 5 acres to keep farming a couple hundred acres or more. And I don't know what their total farm acreage that they farm, but it just, if you know anything about agriculture, you go out
Yes, sir.
If Commissioner Coleman mentioned the number of stipulations to the property. If they sell the property, do the stipulations go with the property, or does the new owner not have to buy with it? Because they're buying B3 industrial property, they're not buying B3 with some previously negotiated terms. How's that going to work? Do we know, Dan?
I thought he addressed that.
He
did, unless I.
The zoning with this agreement, it says if you do a variance, that's where you run into issues. Thus why there is a mechanic repair shop where there used to be a lace factory, which was on 52
But he did address that, he said that all of that, the concerning stuff that Commissioner Coleman brought up, has been since removed from B3.
Yes,
It's its
it's
own
exactly.
zoning now, so it's not even, that being the concern that this B3 property could just turn into a bookshop like it is. It shouldn't even be in there anymore, is what I was trying to, that's what I'm, because there's stipulations, but really not needed. And that zoning doesn't even call for that.
That was my understanding when he stood here, that it is not contingent on any deal with the slope homes, that zoning does not offer it.
Okay, that's, okay, well.
And I was thinking, part of the sticky part on 52, and not just Bennington Township, but all on 52 is you have land that's zone ag, and it gets the special variance or whatever it's called.
Because the ice is ag, for whatever reason.
Ice was ag, and then I went from ice to a trucking company, and now it's a mechanic shop.
It was rezoned.
I might add that with that transition that's happening now, again, the Slocums, they did agree to those.
Which is, I think, a pattern we've seen here in China with a lot of these individuals coming before us, whether it's the Bocac, whether it's the lime factory, whether it's wherever, they're willing to do certain things, will they actually, even though they're not required to, whether it's for noise or for light or for sound or whatever.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it's not like an easement that runs with the land, but the zoning is what the county sets it to be. So if you set it to this particular zoning with these particular conditions, it will stay until such time as the board changes it or rezones it. So if you set it as that, that's how it will stay.
Any other questions, discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor of moving item C under Economic and Physical Development Committee forward to tomorrow, signify by saying aye. Any opposed, same sign.
Nay.
One nay. Mr. Baumann, item move forward to tomorrow.
Maybe yes.
I understand.
Yeah. I move to approve resolutions decommissioning agreement assembly 2 and decommissioning agreement assembly 3.
And these removed.
Oh, yeah.
Motion, but there's one
Yeah,
for it.
yeah. Wait a minute.
You got D, yeah.
Skip right over. I'll go back to D. I move to approve the first reading of the civil infraction ordinance as presented and set public hearing and adoption at the October committee of the whole meeting.
All right, item D.
Support.
And now supported. Are there any questions or discussion over item D? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I move to approve resolutions decommissioning agreement assembly 2 and decommissioning agreement assembly 3.
Correct. Item E is moved and supported. Questions or discussions over this item? All right, hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye. It's not aye for me, but say aye. All right.
I move to approve the proposal from the Midwest Michigan Trail Authority to include the additional counties as recommended.
Second. F, moved and supported. Questions or discussion over this item? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Coleman. And now we'll move into our Public Safety and Courts Committee. Chairman McMaster.
Mr. Chair, item agenda A, I move to approve the invoice for Raven Mobile Safety in amount not to exceed $9,500.
Second.
A has been moved and supported. Questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed, same sign.
Item B, I move to authorize the execution of the Motorola Flex software contract by the Board of Chairman and discontinue the current contract with Central Square.
Second.
B has been moved and seconded. Questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
That concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner McMaster. Now we'll go ahead and move into our Health and Human Services Committee report. Chairman Gardner, what you have?
All right, I wasn't sure we were done with public safety and courts, but here we are,
We
so.
can come back if we want to, anytime. Yeah.
All right, item A, approve the contract between Shiawassee County Health Department and the Shiawassee Regional Education Service District for hearing and vision screening for children aged 0 to 5 in the amount of $15,500 for the period of October 1st, 2020 to September 30th, 2021, and authorize the health director to sign all necessary documents.
Item A has been moved and supported. Questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
All right, item B, I would move that we approve the contract between the Shiawassee County Health Department and Convenient Urgent Care for sexually transmitted infection services in the amount of $60 per visit for the period of October 1st, 2020 to September 30th, 2021, and authorize the health director to sign all necessary documents.
Item B has been moved and seconded. Questions or discussion on item B? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
All right, I would move that we approve the contract between Shiawassee County Health Department and Shiawassee Regional Education Service District for reflective supervision services for MIHP program in the amount of $2,138 for the period of July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021, and authorize the health director to sign all necessary documents.
C has been moved and supported. Questions or discussions over item C? None. Hearing none, all in favor? Item C, moving forward to tomorrow, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, item D, approve the contract renewal between the Shiawassee County Health Department and Shiawassee Health and Wellness for social work services as part of Perry School's Child and Adolescent Health Program in the amount not to exceed $80,500 for the period of September 1st, 2020 to August 31st, 2021, and authorize the health director to sign all necessary documents.
Item D has been moved and supported. Questions or discussion on item D? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
All right, here we go again. Item E, approve the contract renewal between the Shiawassee County Health Department and Shiawassee Health and Wellness for social work services as part of the Duran School Wellness Program in the amount not to exceed $80,500 for the school year 2020 to 2021, and authorize the health director to sign all necessary documents.
Second.
Item E has been moved and seconded. Questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Item F, approve the contract between Shiawassee County Health Department and Connie Brown, RD, for dietitian services in the WIC program in the amount of $32 per hour for an average of $16 hours per week for the period of September 1st, 2020 to August 31st, 2021, and authorize the health director to sign all necessary documents.
Item F's been moved and supported. Questions or discussion over the item? Hearing none, final item. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, the same sign. Motion carries.
concludes my report, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Garber. And at this time, now we'll go ahead and move on to our Committee of the Whole report. And I would like to entertain a motion to approve the resolution in support of Project Tim.
You're asking for a motion?
Yes, I'm so moved. Motion?
I support that.
Thank you very much. We have a motion and a support, and we'll call that item A under Committee of the Whole. And now this item is open for discussion, but before we do that, we have a guest here from Project Tim in representation, Tim Nichols, who has prepared just a short statement for us. Tim, the floor is yours.
Thank you. As,
On down.
I have a seat. Yeah, you don't have to sit. You can sit, you don't have to sit.
okay. Thank you.
Got a buzzer on there if you sat too long.
Well, I got about 20 pages. Is that too long?
Yeah, we'll do 19.
Okay. As I look over the proposed proclamation in support of Project Tim, I think about how none of this would have been possible without the visionary leadership and engagement of the Shiawassee County Board of Commissioners, Shiawassee Economic Development Partnership, the City of Durand, and the surrounding townships. The vision that has been put forth by this leadership has already seen you bring in business expansions as well as new businesses to the area that have added additional jobs and helped strengthen your economic base. What Project Tim will bring to this area is even greater economic base that includes hundreds of well-paying jobs along with a strong commitment to an environmentally friendly industrial manufacturing complex, one not matched anywhere in the world. When it becomes operational, it will set an environmental standard for other industrial companies to follow, not only in Michigan and across the United States, but in the world. I appreciate your willingness to let me address this committee and look forward to when a formal announcement can occur and we see all your smiling faces at groundbreaking. That day will mark the rebirth of Michigan as an industrial leader again, and Durand will be its hub. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nichols. I hope all of us have had a time just to peek at the proposed resolution. It isn't anything controversial or anything like that. It's just accepting the money from the state and saying, trust us to use it in a way that's going to benefit the people we represent. And if that is including Project Tim, then we're welcoming Project Tim to Shiawassee County with open arms, as well as any other companies who may decide that that will work for them and arrange that property. So, are there any other commissioner questions or discussion over this resolution? All right. And hearing none, all in favor of moving this resolution on to tomorrow signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion will be added to the agenda tomorrow. Thank you very much. At this time, we'll give our chairman of the board an opportunity to address the other commissioners. Mr. Root, do you have any?
I will let Dr. Boggs handle the report. It's good having that coordinator report there now. We can just.
All right, we'll move right on to the coordinator report then. Dr. Boggs.
Well, I have several things I want to talk to you guys about, but I'm going to save them mostly for tomorrow. But there is one that I want to talk about today, just briefly. So your MERS resolution that you have to do before you is the first step towards, changing our plan and providing some fiscal solvency for ending legacy costs. Today, MERS called to negotiate. So I'm going to call them tomorrow, and I'll have more to talk to you guys about tomorrow after we talk to them.
Really?
However, I would still recommend advancing the motion, please.
Done. Shocker.
And that's all I have for today.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Boggs. I know we already approved the agenda, but we'll go ahead and ask, are there any other commissioners that would like to discuss any last minute additions to this agenda?
Yes. And I would not, I'm not proposing to add to the agenda. I would just like to address an item that is not on the agenda. It was a request by 911 Angela Norling, who's here today, asked that we give a $2,000 bonus, if you'll call it, to our dispatchers that have worked through COVID. They were not a part of the work share program. All other employees in the county, other than jail cook staff, were included in that program. We are short-staffed at 911. They had 2 people in training. As you know, that's 24/7. So a furlough is not ideal. And when you're short-staffed, it just, I don't believe it was feasible. So the proposal was a one-time payment of $2,000, not out of the general fund, but out of the dedicated funds that the voters approved for 911. And I went to my meeting at Wasso Township and told them, yeah, we voted on this, and the 911 board, which is, I will clarify, an advisory board, so that vote really means nothing. It kind of did to me, so I would apologize to Wasso Township for giving you false information, because as it stands, we will not be putting that on the agenda. That's all I have.
I have a rebuttal to that.
Chairman Root, yes.
We have, when we brought Dr. Boggs on, we once again established that Wednesday prior to the Board of Commissioner meetings would be your deadline. Dr. Boggs was empowered by this board to put that in place. He sent that out to the departments. Every department has met that request. And to now come behind him and say special situations will take them. The only thing we said would come after the deadline would be if an employee left that Monday of board meetings, and we didn't want to hold up a hiring. Personnel is the only thing we were going to address. I think when the board makes its requests, which are not hard, we know when the board meets, we set our meetings in January. You know, after a while, the onus is on the department head to be in the meeting and have that meeting and bring their recommendation from their advisory board, as their advisory board I'm sure knows, to have their requests in before we meet. If it is not in, and it was sent over, and it can gladly be taken up next month. But this board and our administrator has reinforced that deadlines are not to be missed anymore. We've seen what happens when we get loose on deadlines. We have a number of issues with our audit because we've decided deadlines just only apply to some. They have to apply to all, and that's simply what this is. I don't, it doesn't matter where the money comes from, it doesn't matter what the job is, it doesn't matter who's doing the job. This is simply a procedural matter that we have asked people to have things done ahead of time so that people can review them. We have been pretty good since Dr. Boggs has been here that nothing has shown up on Monday, nothing comes on Wednesday, nothing gets added on Thursday, and I think we all probably want it to remain that way. That's what I would say to that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I
sir.
have a couple comments. So, and maybe this was an error on my part for not doing the homework. I wasn't aware of the full background on this when I showed up yesterday for our committee meetings. But I just for clarification, and I want to make absolutely sure, because I brought this up a month or two ago. I know we have the central dispatch employees. I know Vanessa Fergus in the kitchen. And I don't know if there's anyone else, but can you double check and make sure?
Who are not participating.
Yeah. Is there anybody else, like double, triple check, is there anybody else? Because I know I had a conversation with Vanessa, I know Angela and I have had conversations over the last couple months, but if we're gonna do something, if we're gonna do it next month, please have the kitchen staff. And I don't know if it's just Vanessa, or if it's everybody that's there. I'm not sure, I don't know who qualifies, who doesn't, but,
I'll do a little
check into that,
Let's
please.
check into it. And if I might just clarify, you know, the agenda went out on Friday, and then in order to meet the deadline for posting for the Open Meetings Act, I don't change anything, what is it, 36 hours before the meeting. So we did print that request out and put it in front of you. Once we're, and the committee did not take it up yesterday. But once we're within the Open Meetings Act window, I did not add anything more to an agenda. I will remove things, this business can only be removed if I don't add things to it, once we're within the Open Meetings Act requirements for posting. But we did provide it to the committee yesterday.
I can say for one that I appreciate that consistency, or my years as being a commissioner. One of the worst things you can do is come in prepared for a battery of agenda items and then see something new that you didn't have time to review, ask questions behind the scenes, and do your homework. So thank you for doing that. And this is something that can always be taken up next month. We'll listen and hopefully, if it does, then this won't matter. That's how it's.
I got a little more than I'm on the Scholastic Partnership Committee, and the Project 10, the same thing is starting in Ohio, and so they started on a small scale, and they've already got something working there, and it's really supposed to be energy efficient and green and everything, so it's already started there on a small scale.
Any other commissioners with any comments at this time? All right, hearing none, then we'll go ahead and move into the opportunity for the general public to address the board for a second time. Is there anyone that would like to address the board at this time?
I want to thank everyone for all your work and hard work and everything. My name is Jill Schupler. I moved to Perry 1 month ago today. On Sunday, I read where the Slocums are wanting to sell their property and, well, use their property for rental storage places. I've researched that today, and there are already many of those in the Perry area, and Perry is a very small community. It frightened me when you said that it is zoned where they could possibly put illegal type of, well, it's legal in a way, but inappropriate to me. I paid a lot of money for my home, and it's right on Winnebago Road. And had I known this, had I known it was being considered, I definitely would have reconsidered purchasing this home. What value is this going to have on my home? Say, if Slocum's within 6 months or whatever of being approved to this, then sell it to someone who puts up pornography or whatever, which can be done within the county. And it's just, I read that in the paper. I spoke with John yesterday. I talked to the people at the township yesterday as well, and they referred me to him. And so I'm coming to you and I'm saying, please think this through. I don't want my home value to depreciate it, but it's even frightening to me to think of the type of people that it will bring into that community. Being that what's the name of that store there, where they sell pornography? John lives in Perry. Anyway, it's like a block from the traffic light. Yeah. It caused a lot of stir when it went in, and it's caused a lot of problems, and people already get themselves into enough addictions as it is. And is my time up?
No.
I apologize. Well, it's frightening to me, and the fact that it's like they're going to put something in there that's already, there's at least 3 storage places within Perry, and I mean, it's a little community, believe me. And Wasso and East Lansing are within 10, 13 miles away, and there's numerous types of that type of business. So using that as an opening, I understand they're an entrepreneur wanting to make money, but I also am very, very concerned about what could happen if this is approved and it's kept in that particular zoning area classification. I've never spoke before a group like this before. I appreciate your time and your thoughtfulness, and please give it some thought.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else that would like to address the board? Hearing none,